Down, I've been up to and in my head. I come in late at night and in the morning I just lay in bed.
Welcome back, fight fans. John Pollock.
Step on the chorus there? You got to get into the Help Me Ronda at least.
I don't know this song at all.
Oh, come on. You're showing your lack of age, actually. It says Help Me Ronda.
Zach behind the
Beach
glass
Boys.
knows this song really well.
Yeah, that's an interesting dance, Zach. That's kind of a Carlton Banks thing happening. Do you know that reference at least?
Oh, I know Carlton Banks.
Okay, good. Help Me Ronda by the Beach Boys. And that is because John Pollock, it's the law, it's TSN Radio, it's our post-fight special. Sorry, I interrupted your housekeeping.
No, not at all. It's not too often. I was just thinking that you could say, welcome back, fight fans, with Help Me Ronda underneath it with a gentleman dancing over behind the glass. This is quite the masculine radio show. Where
Ain't it just?
We are commandeering here. Yes, that's true. I got to chat with Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion Rowdy Ronda Rousey this past week. She was doing a lot of promotion for the UFC on Fox show, which right there, Jay, I think tells you just how much stock they have in Ronda Rousey, that they have her doing all of this stuff outside of the ring cage and in terms of just promotion and realizing what a gold mine this woman's become for them.
She is absolutely. I think she has potential to be bigger than Gina Carano was. Even though, and there's a horrible movie with Gina in it, but Ronda Rousey has actual, real charisma, and it's actually unlike Gina. Every time she opens her mouth, she just gets more attractive. With Gina, not so much. And she was on Ultimate Fighter a couple weeks ago. She was fantastic on that. The training sequences they cut really putting her over as the real deal. This woman is fantastic and an absolute gold mine. And I'm going to pitch it again, John. You're going to integrate women into the UFC by having Ronda finally do as a coach on the Ultimate Fighter against Cyborg.
It's a great
It'd be
idea.
Amazing.
And Ultimate Fighter was among the topics we chatted with Ronda about, and here she is, Ronda Rousey on the law.
It's been a whirlwind a couple of weeks for you. I mean, you've been speaking to politicians, Maxim Photo Shoot, the Tough House. I mean, you've just been everywhere, it seems.
Yeah, but I'm actually not tired of it yet. It's actually still cool and, totally new, and I'm just glad I'm being able to get all this work done now as opposed to, when training camp starts and then I'm completely focused on the camp, you know what I mean?
So do you have a set date right now for Sarah Kaufman? Because we're hearing July, but nothing has officially been stated at this point.
I haven't seen or signed anything yet, so my guess is as good as yours.
I want to ask you about your experience at the Tough House, because we all saw it last Friday on FX. It came across as the most awkward interaction in the history of male-female relations. Was it as awkward as what we saw on television for you watching the Evans-Jones fight?
It was more awkward than that, actually, because they missed the earlier part of the night where, everyone was sitting everywhere except for the couch. I was the only one on the couch for a while, and everyone was sitting around me. And then, I remember one point, actually, Uriah tried to, be smart, like a smart ass, and be like, hey, I'll sit next to her, guys. And then he, tried to walk around me, and I wasn't paying attention, and he, tripped over my heel and, fell on the couch, which was another funny moment. But, they were it was weird being in there, too. It was more awkward because I'd hung out with Uriah and Dominic, individually, and they're both really cool, but in the same room together, it was just, the tension was just so palpable, and then that combined with me being in the house right after I was rolling around with those guys and they hadn't seen, a girl in weeks and they had TV for the first time in months, and there was so many things going on that they weren't used to that I don't think they knew how to handle it.
Well, what did you think about the Evans-Jones fight? Were you impressed by John Jones and how he's able to pretty much shut down Rashad Evans for 5 rounds?
I didn't even get to see it. I saw the prelims twice. I saw the prelims before I got there, and then they played the prelims all over again at the house. I'm like, all right, no one's talking to me. These are kind of lame. I'm just going to go. Wow. So I actually left early before the main card even started because I was tired of watching the prelim.
Man, the guys just chased you off.
From what I heard, I heard it was a very dominating performance from John Jones, but I also heard it was kind of it wasn't going to make a highlight reel.
No, not the most exciting fight in the world, but John Jones looking good after 5 rounds. As well last weekend, Ronda, in addition to you appearing in the Tough House, a big weekend for women's MMA because it was the first Invicta Fighting Championships card. It was an all-female card, and it was interesting because after the main event, Marloes Coenen, a former Strikeforce bantamweight champion, saying that she's going to be coming after your title at some point. Is that a fight that you'd be interested down the road if Marloes were to come back into the whole Strikeforce fold?
Oh, of course I'd be interested in it. But, I mean, if she's getting taken out and tapped out by Misha Tate, I'm probably the least of her problems. I mean, and her name is Marluz. I mean, I'm going to totally change my fight name to Marwin just for our fight, just to piss her off.
Man, you have become, I think, the best talker within MMA at this point. Definitely one of the pound-for-pound best. Is this something that it just all came natural to you? Because I think that added so much interest to the Misha Tate fight. And just, it put a spotlight on you guys because both of you were kind of willing to engage with one another.
Did you just call me a pound-for-pound good talker because Chael's heavier than me and the average is out as me being better?
Yes, exactly. I am complimenting you because, I mean, Chael gets all these Q&As and platforms, but you, I think, no matter whether you're chatting with John Pollock here from Toronto or not, you're bringing it strong.
Oh, thank you. I just, I try to be present with every single conversation, and not just trying to recite the same lines over and over. And I don't know why everyone thinks it's like some incredible feat, We're just talking.
Well, I think it's people enjoy it a lot because I think a lot of times we're so tired of when, a post-fight interview and the guy's just like, well, I respect my opponent. I'll fight whoever Joe Silva puts in front of me. I think people want more. They want to hear the people what they would say if the cameras weren't on them. And I think you come across as
people are just so scared to get any kind of criticism, it's just like you need to accumulate critics in order to get fans as well. It's like it's a ratio. You're going to get more of both. And I think people are so scared of saying anything that could possibly offend anyone that they just take the safe road and gonna go with the most mundane way to talk ever.
Do you think some fighters spend too much time, whether it be on message boards and appealing to that audience, which just by its nature on the internet, when you have that anonymity, it's going to be heavily negative, and it just seems almost a losing cause to try and play to an internet audience. It just seems you kind of just have to have thick skin and remove yourself from that kind of criticism.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta kind of take those things with a grain of salt, because, I mean, every single person, it's so funny. I have so many people come up to me like, oh, I follow you on Twitter, you're so awesome, blah, 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 blah. Like, really? Well, of all the people that come up to me and say that they see me on Twitter and, they like me and they're a big fan, there's got to be several people that walked past me that talked a bunch of to me on Twitter and didn't have the balls to say anything to my face. I didn't just happen to run into every single person I ran into that knows me from Twitter only said nice things. It's that everyone that ever had the balls to say something, mean about me on the internet never has the balls to say anything to me to my face. So the day that somebody that ever talked to me on the internet can come up and say, hey, my handle is so-and-so and I said this about you, then I will stop thinking that every single internet hater is a But from now on, I really don't care what they think until they actually can say something to my face.
Oh, preach on, Ronda. I love it. Have you worked a lot with Nate in his preparation for this fight?
I keep along to train Stockton and kind of like later into his training camp. So I was there for 2 weeks, and I just tried my best to roll around and be a good training partner, whatever the questions they had. I tried my best to, kind of go back and forth with them and learn whatever I can. But yeah, he looked great, man. I'm really excited. I think that Nate's going to do an amazing job. I wish I had more time to spend up there with them, and I'm definitely going to go back, but I'm really optimistic about this fight for him. I think this is huge.
What kind of state of mind is Nick in from what you've got to talk with him? Obviously, he's got all these distractions kind of outside of the octagon and away from fighting at this point. Is he in pretty good spirits in terms of just kind of day-to-day and getting back to eventually, hopefully, we'll see him back in the octagon this year?
That was like the biggest Rubik's Cube question ever. You want me to state Nick's state of mind?
We only have a few minutes here.
My main answer is nobody knows.
Nick is Nick.
I don't know what his state of mind is. I don't think anybody does. Nick is doing his own thing, man.
Is it something, as you're taking all this in this week, Ronda, and in preparation for Fox on Saturday night, I mean, can you envision, seeing yourself maybe one day here on Fox?
Oh, I definitely, I see myself fighting on network television, like on Fox, and like being able to mainstream women's MMA like that someday. And I'm doing everything that I can, and I definitely can't do it entirely alone. But all I can control is my own actions. So, but with all these things like Invicta and all these other events coming up, all the other girl fighters are also. It's not just just Gina or just Cyborg. there's a whole bunch of other names that are starting to become more commonplace, like Misha Tate and Marlies Kunin, and and my name. It's just plus Gina and Cyborg are still around. There's more characters coming involved, and I think that Dana's right. And what really needs to happen is we need to develop depth in the division, and that takes time.
I think the worst thing that ever happened, Ronda, was with the whole Gina Carano boom came the term the face of women's mixed martial arts. I mean, do you just hate that term because it feels, yes, that it's like a one-person division, and it's anything but that?
I don't hate it. I think it's a term that gets thrown around a lot to, a couple people. I think that Gina is always going to be that face of women's MMA because she was everyone's first impression, pretty much, and she's the one, carrying on to, the mainstream and Hollywood movies and all of that. I think that she will always be the face of MMA because she's the one, on the screen that people are watching. So,
a lot of people would say you're that face, though, now.
That should be thrown around to a bunch of girls. I think that's just forever hers.
I don't know, Ronda. A lot of people might say that that's now been bestowed upon you at this point.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing what I can. People can call me what they want. They call me nice things, they call me mean things.
And that was Rowdy Ronda Rousey chatting with myself earlier this week, and her next fight will be against Sarah Kaufman for that women's bantamweight championship. No date has been set as of yet, but we're looking at July, and I think that Jay, her next fight, I think it's going to kind of show us what kind of interest has been gauged after the huge Misha Tate fight and that feud going into it, and how much this can kind of propel the entire women's division and give a spotlight to Strikeforce, which we've got a show coming up in 2 weeks, and no one is talking about it. No one's aware of anything on that card.
Yeah, and I had actually been waiting for the Barnett Cormier fight to happen, and that is what is going on in a couple of weeks, but no one seems to know about it. I think the real focus in Strikeforce is the women's division, and it actually always has been, from Carano to Cyborg to now Ronda Rousey. So it's actually refreshing to see, and I think this woman has star written all over her.
One more break, and then we're going to come back and wrap it up strong here as the law concludes UFC on Fox 3 Post Show.